can't get inside. It's locked. But I turned off at an historical marker. And I guess this is it. First log cabin built in Stratton, Nebraska, circa 1879. It is locked. See a bed, a chair, another chair, a desk. Be cool if I could go in, but I can't. All right, well, I'm in Stratton, Nebraska though. Thought, and tomorrow you will see where I end up today. Thought I would tell you, the highlights of my time in Council Bluffs. Get right into it. Get my hand out of the way. First one was actually when I went to Grand Rapids. Link at the top if you missed the video when I went and played Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort, which is in Larchwood, Iowa. So we didn't hit the bad beat, but people thought we did, and there was the excitement as if we did. This is what happened. There was an all-in on a flop of Ace King 8. The two hands that were all in, Pocket Kings and Ace King. The turn was, complete brick. I mean, Ace King just needs an ace the whole way. The turn hits, and going to the river, someone says, need an ace. And I heard that person say that. I thought that person was telling Mr. Ace King, your only outs are aces. I thought he was just like letting the guy who was losing know what he needed. I didn't think he was calling for a bad beat. Well, an ace hits the river, and the woman in seat 9 jumps up and starts celebrating because she thinks we hit the bad beat. This causes a chain reaction, and everyone at the table starts celebrating. I didn't get excited for a second. I didn't know what the bad beat qualifier was. I didn't know I didn't know what the amount was. I didn't know how it was split among the people at the table. But I knew there's no way King's full is the minimum or better for the hand that needs to lose in order to trigger the bad beat. The floor comes over, looks at the board, says, this isn't a bad beat. Aces full of 10s is the minimum, which is one of the lowest minimums I've ever heard of. But King's full doesn't make the cut. What was funny was afterwards, the guy with Ace King, who I don't know if he realized how much he's rubbing this into the guy who had Pocket Kings and was ahead the whole way except the river, he won the pot, and there's no bad beat as solace for the guy who lost. So he wins the pot, he doubles up, and he's trying to go over how it could have been a bad beat. Well, it wasn't going to happen. At first, he says, we needed another king on the river. For one, the guy with Ace King who's saying this would have had King's full. King's full isn't a qualifier. Also, that would mean 5 kings in the deck, which isn't happening. If it happens, things are going to be void because it's a bad deck. Then he keeps thinking about this. Someone tells him, no, that wouldn't do it. Then he keeps thinking about it and says, okay, we needed the run out to be Ace, Ace, King, King, King. Okay, first of all, that's 6 kings in the deck. Also, albeit, I should say, yes, if he had aces full of kings and the other guy had 5 of a kind kings, 5 of a kind, if it existed, would probably be a good enough qualifier. But we didn't hit the bad beat. So that was the end of that. And I was pretty proud of myself that I was the only one who didn't let myself get excited for a second. It was at 51,975, and I heard 30% would get split among the people at the table, not in the hand. So someone like me, I would have gotten like 22, 25. That would have been nice, but at no point did I think it was happening. All right, next thing is the personnel in the Airbnb. Could definitely be interesting. So one guy who was there the entire time, who seemed to have some kind of a deal, like he's staying there at a discount and he's being the maid every time someone checks out of a room. Okay, whatever. The thing is, he wasn't very good at it. Like, I would walk into the kitchen and it wasn't dirty, but it was like definitely not what it should be after someone cleans in the kitchen. He was also not good at washing dishes. So I have my own like Tupperware, this big Tupperware that I use as a dish. Well, there's a full kitchen, so I'm like, it would be easier not to use that. I'll just use an actual plate from the cabinet. First day I cook, first plate I take out, there's tomato sauce on the side of it. I put it in the sink. Next one I take out, if you hold it up to the light a certain way, you just see like a lot of grease on the plate. I put that in the sink. Third one I take out, tomato sauce on the edge of the plate. I put that in the sink, and then I just stopped bothering looking at anything else in the cabinets because they were disgusting. So he was doing this, but he was bad at it. Also, the first night I was there, it was a little hot in my room. I had my window open. I had the door open also to try to get the air getting through the whole room. He's in the kitchen on the phone, so I hear him have a conversation. First of all, he's on the phone, and the other guy on the phone that he seems to be friends with just got out of jail after 10 years for committing a stabbing. All right? But this guy who's actually in the Airbnb is telling him, the other guy, the Mr. Stabber, a story about what his end of last year was like. He was staying at an Airbnb, paying under the table, which I wouldn't do because you're not protected, and you're not even really supposed to be there. Like, you have no way to prove you're supposed to be there. So he's paying some woman under the table. One day he claims he gets back to the house drunk and the door code was changed. My guess is it was the same, he just couldn't remember it because he was drunk. So he breaks a window and climbs in. He's mad that neighbors noticed this and called the police, and he wound up getting arrested. And he's mad that while the legal ongoings were happening, they tried to bring up his juvenile record, which they shouldn't do. Okay. And eventually he had to spend 3 weeks in jail. For one, solves the Airbnb problem, which is what my law school friend said when I was telling him this. Also, that seems like a pretty amazing deal. You have a criminal history and you broke in to a place that you couldn't prove you were staying and only had to go to jail for 3 weeks. Seems like an unbelievable deal, but he was mad about that. There was also another guy who sometimes he would complain about working too much, sometimes not enough. Sometimes I would hear him on the phone with like a temp agency talking about needing money. And yet during all of this, he spent a lot of time falling asleep while watching TV in the living room. So I don't really know what his story was. He was there for about a week. But on to the last thing. This was the best thing that happened in the poker room in Council Bluffs. A guy folded a straight flush. That's probably going to be the thumbnail. It's true, although once you hear the reason, you'll probably understand. So, the guy had queen nine of diamonds. He flopped a flush. Pretty sure his plan was, another guy had the lead. So pretty sure his plan was call the flop, call the turn, raise the river. You know, he's hoping for cards to hit on the run out that are not more diamonds, and also not pair the board. You know, that would keep his hand, you know, the queen high straight flush, the third nuts. So his plan is in action. He called a bet on the flop, he called a bet on the turn. And on the river, when the diamond hit that gave him the straight flush, I'm pretty sure in his head all he was thinking was, damn, fourth diamond, and this guy isn't scared of it. He keeps betting. He must have like ace jack on this jack high flop, ace jack with the ace of diamonds, and he had a pair and a draw, or just the draw, and he hit it. He's not slowing down. That's exactly what I didn't want to see, not taking into account the exact ranks, seeing that that was a straight flush. So he showed us, and then he folded. And interesting that he showed, because now the whole table was kind of confused for a second. But I think we understood most of us understood what was going on in his mind. The thing was, progressive straight flushes at the Horseshoe Council Bluffs. So not only would he have slightly more than doubled up, because there's no way the other guy's folding an ace of diamonds, and I don't think the other player would have continued betting. I could see the other player betting the flop and the turn with plenty of hands. Once that fourth diamond hits, yeah, he probably had a pair and the nut flush draw for him to continue betting hard on the river. So this guy would have doubled up and gotten the straight flush bonus, which I think was in the high 200s. Every time it's hit, it resets to 100, and then every day it is not hit, it increases by $30. I think it was up to 280 that day. So he would have doubled up plus another 280. So tough break for him. Tougher that he showed everybody, which he didn't mean to show the mistake. He was just showing that he got a card on the river he didn't like. But anyway, those were the highlights. Very diverse. A poker highlight, an Airbnb highlight, a Larchwood, Iowa highlight. So you will see in tomorrow's video where I am headed, but I am on the road. I have left Council Bluffs. You know, at this second I am in Stratton, Nebraska. No idea how far I am from the border, but I'm going to be crossing the border eventually. I will give you a hint. I am not going to sleep in Nebraska tonight. And remember, rice is a spoon food.